I'm feeling better. Woo! Not that much better, but generally better. What a life. Can I say I'm grateful for you guys? Because I listened to one of my streams recently. It popped up on my YouTube. It was the BB25 Awards. And that mic was terrible. Like, you just heard so much me knocking around the mic. And I can't believe y'all were just okay with that. Like, there was not much bitching. And I hate when you guys complain. Like, but it was bad. Damn, y'all aren't too bad. We watch Big Brother. We don't care for quality. Good one. I swear, America was like, I'm going to make you an immunity shot. I'm like, that sounds great. And then she put in ghost peppers. It's like water ghost peppers. That was it. She's like, this will make you feel better. I'm like, oh, okay. That's good. What's up, Heather? I feel like every single stream, there's a new Heather who has a first-time chat. And I'm glad it's you this time, Heather 66350. Early today? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Are we here to review that one BB Reddit post about you and America and the Izzy flip? Don't tempt me. At this point, every time someone... First of all, I like that it's like, damn, there's nothing to fucking talk about with BB26, so I appreciate people always, talking about the last interesting strategic thing to happen on Big Brother. But, I don't know what else there is to say. Do you guys watch BB Can 10? We watched up until the replacement nom, so we have one more episode to watch tonight. Does John Locke have a strobing light effect? Yeah, he just does that. It's a feature. If it makes you feel better, there's no upvotes. That's okay. It was, I think whenever I see people talk about that move in specifically or certain moves, it's like, I would love to see what you thought in the moment. Because I think in the moment, everyone would have crucified me if I did not make said move. So because it didn't work out in retrospect, I think it's very easy to be like, it would have worked out a different way. But in the moment, especially Reddit, they turned on me at that point. And this move is the only way to get them back. The BB25 hashtag was going off last night. Matt was acting up. What did Matt do? Should I look up this hashtag? What's the context? Yeah, it's got to be Matt Hardiman. Someone's going to have to send me the tweets. Matt versus Rubina? Oh, boy. We've been waiting for this. He unfollowed Rubina and T-Core. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I have to pick a side. I choose Matt. He posted on Insta stories that Lisa's Fire fundraiser event was doing something and not just for optics. Wow. He unfriended Rubina and T-Core. You're telling me he's not a friend Z? Damn. Damn, Matt. A sly retaliatory post on her Insta grid. See, this is good. BB26, as you guys are giving me this information, is moving up the rankings. I think if I had to bring back people from BB26, Matt would be in the top half of the list. And I think it's not close. I think he's distinctly in the top half. I think his 1 week of feeds was captivating. I just love the premise of it kind of reminds very vaguely when BLM was like a massive cultural moment on like Instagram and everything, there was almost, at least on my feed, more discourse about people protesting or supporting the movement. Like, there was more like commentary about how people were protesting as opposed to what was being protested for. And I always find that incredibly unhelpful. Like, there should be less commentary about like performative activism regarding the fires and more about actually helping people, right? Like, and I understand there's like a meaningful conversation to be had about like how to best advocate, but I think when those discussions become louder than the actual discussions you're advocating for, that's when it gets unproductive. Matt and Rubina on the same season of The Circle. I think they would both be so distinguishable. It'd be so obvious who Rubina was. So obvious who Matt was. But my guess is Matt and Lisa just have a very close bond in terms of how much they hate Angela. So I think they're tight. That'd be my thought. Matt's just sitting in Cabo with MJ causing drama, and good. That's what you should do. But yeah, it's good stuff. I'm glad to hear it. Just got an ad for Taki's A-Dog's Influence. Yeah, it's my Taki's partnership. All right, let me give you guys the link to the Google form. Reality TV hot takes. Doesn't have to be Big Brother. Could be anything. Anything reality TV. I'm just going to be yapping. I feel like I haven't been able to yap in a few days because of the cough. The cough's still there, but it's pretty faint. And I'm feeling okay. I think I still feel a little bit stuffy, and, you know, the coughs, they come now and then, but it's such a marked improvement. I feel good. And here's what I'll say. If you're an influencer, if you're a real influencer, you're never on vacation. A vacation is just a new opportunity to post and get in drama. Who told MJ that she could do better than Matt? Okay, how do I say this where it doesn't sound like an insult? Because I think Matt's fine. I never understood that. The MJ, like, could do better than Matt. Like, I feel like they're very much in each other's league. They're very similar. If you watch how they, like, talked on the feeds, I feel like they're a very good match. The idea that they're in, like, these massively different levels and spheres, I always thought was odd to me. This didn't strike me as like a Riley and Matt situation where one of them sucked and the other one was a very nice person. It was like, one of them got second and the other got 16th. So if that's how we're, determining this, then sure. But other than that, I liked Matt in his podcast with Quinn, and I was getting trigged. Yeah, I have not listened quite yet. Thoughts on Sarah Beth? This is a good question. I have no thoughts on Sarah Beth. I never met her, but I'm team Sarah Beth when it comes to Tiffany. So, perhaps there's an opinion. Sarah Beth stand in 2025 real. How good of a player was Sarah Beth? I need objective analysis. Podcast is outstanding. Good to hear. Terrible. That would have been a crazy take if in my most robbed Big Brother players, number 1, the white people on Big Brother 23. That's a Katie take. I mean, who is the best player on BB 23 outside of the cookout? Was it Derek X? Was it Alyssa? Was it Claire? It was Claire? Yeah, I've heard Claire and Derek X. That's pretty crazy. I mean, the thing is, that season, there's two problems with it. When people say the cookout was so dominant and it made it boring, it wasn't just that the cookout had 6 people. They probably had the three of the best five players in the house, four of the best five, maybe the best four. Obviously, Tiffany's one. Xavier and Kyland are up there. Hannah's up there. Like, they probably just objectively had four of the five best players in it. Oz is probably middle of the pack, and then, DF is worse. But you guys think Brittany, Travis? Yeah. So that's the unfair part of it. That's why Family Style was so successful. We had we probably had like five of the worst players in the house. Claire, but even then, her invisible HOH was so bad. But she brought it back at RHAP Traders, and you gotta respect that. All right, we're doing hot takes today. The link is posted. We have 29 responses now. I think I'll start in about 5 minutes. You did all make jury except for Riley and Jared, but close enough. To anybody who knows Big Brother Canada 10, I was watching it recently. We're not going to have spoilers, but I'm just going to say my little piece. Watching it and like listening to the updates and everything, me and America, if we're Kevin and Helena, Mimi should have been our Josh. If we just had like Mimi, who was kind of weirdly, blindly loyal to us for no reason, nothing could stop us except for comps, because none of it would have mattered and Jag would have won anyways. But I'm like, oh, that's what was supposed to happen. And it didn't, unfortunately. Golden, you think Frenchie is the best from BB23? That take, somehow that was like the worst take if you said it right after he was evicted, and it's gotten worse since then. I always forget about him. Maybe that's a good thing. Tom, I get not liking Jared. He's not forgettable. You know what honestly was one of the biggest flaws of Big Brother 25? I think we had a lot of very dynamic, charismatic people. Like, maybe not super likable, but very, like, interesting, fun personalities. But they didn't shine on the episodes. Like, Jared, there was a lot to talk about Jared on the feeds. Like, he was having a lot of conversations and doing a lot. But then in the episodes, he was like, the house was so exhausting that everyone was worn out by the time they got to the DR. And I think Jag was the same way. It's like, it's very interesting, because I feel like BB26, there was so little happening in the house that people went into the DR and they had so much energy. Like, for us, whenever we got called to DR, it's like, fuck, oh my god. All right, I'll be right back. Who was Marty in BB25? Marty has to be Cameron. It's Cameron or Jared. But I think Cameron's the better analog. They called you guys so late at night? Yeah. Yeah. All right, we're at 46 responses. I'm going to give you guys a couple more minutes. I'm hoping for some good ones today. None of this bullshit. Someone's going to... I have 2 hot takes of my own that I'll share at the start. 2 hot takes. I love how Marty says Wendy's. Yeah, it's pretty good. Big Brother Canada 10, in my opinion, you could definitely argue is the best season of Big Brother ever. I think that is my opinion, to be honest. There's just like, I think there's 2 weeks the entire season that are a little bit, okay, ho-hum, like whatever. But that's it. Like, I think the Kyle boot week is a little slow. And the next week is a little bit slow, the final 8 round, but even that's not, it's still pretty interesting. Yeah, Angie, I do know what you're talking about. It's a little bit odd. Can't wait to see you judge me for some of my hot takes. You always have crazy shit to say, Nick. I'd be disappointed if I agree with any of your takes. It's the cast in BB Can 10 that's so great. It's the cast and it's the competition results. I made this point on the rewatch, so I won't talk about it too much, but so much of captivating Big Brother relies on having players like Marty and Riley. And you might be like, what the fuck do Marty and Riley have in common? It's players who you're able to convince of stuff. Players who are like malleable and willing to be manipulated. Those players are so important because it allows the other players to stand a chance and to make stuff happen. That's why someone like Cameron on our season, who's this chaos agent, was actually not as fun as he could have been because he just had his idea and did it. Like, you need to have malleable people. And in our season, like Riley, like whoever talked to Riley last usually was able to convince her of whatever they wanted. Gino might be the only dull one. Look, if you're going to have a boring person, make him one of the hottest people to be on Big Brother ever. You know, that's the trade-off. Okay, hot takes time. We're at 62. I'll leave the responses open while I'm doing this, and we'll see if we can make a dent in it. We'll close them eventually. Okie dokie. Also, can I give a life update? A quick little life update? Good news life update? Quick one. I am going to law school. It's happening. We got one. So we're on the board. So that's good. Harvard, let's go. That's right. No, it's so it's one of those things. I've applied to like 20 places. I heard back from 4, a couple of denials, 1 waitlist, 1 accepted. It's nice to have the baseline of getting in somewhere because now future denials hurt less. But we're on the board. It's somewhere I'd be happy to go. You know, it's not like a super crazy settle or anything. Like, it's a good school. And now, I don't want to say, like, any extra school is a bonus. Like, it's not like this is my dream school by any means. I don't really have a dream school. But, like, I feel like I'm in a spot where I could get denied from everywhere and then be happy going to this law school. So, that's where we're at. Yeah, I feel bad even calling it a fallback because it's a good school. Like, it's not, you know. But that's where we're at. So, good news. I mentioned this a lot in my Big Brother casting, but my mom has access to my emails. She just did in, like, middle school, and it just never stopped. I never changed the password. So it's very annoying. Whenever I get a decision back, she sees it before me, looks at the email, looks at the result, and then marks the email as unread to pretend like she didn't see it. And then I see it, and I try to archive it so she can't see it. And at that point, it's already too late. But she called me today, and, like, I'm in Whole Foods. She goes, woohoo! I'm like, what? She's like, you're going to law school. I'm like, damn it, Mom. She's like, you didn't see it? Literally, it might have been sent 22 minutes ago. Like, it wasn't like it was sitting in my inbox all day. It's so annoying. But anyways, that's my little life update. Okay, let's do it. We're starting off with a great hot take, by the way. Y'all are cooking with gas right now. Americory, best showmats ever. Who do you all think is objectively the best showmats ever in terms of, like, strategy? Let's stick to Big Brother US, because I think you could definitely make the case for Ica and Dimitri's. Brenchel. I think I'd honestly think Jeff and Jordan are probably better than Brenchel. Tangela? Oh, Tangela's pretty good. Tangela's pretty good. Yeah, it's Tangela. Tyler's really good, and Angela's super solid. I mean, Jeff and Jordan, I think you can make the case for it too, because Jeff is pretty solid, and Jordan is really good. but I would think Tangela. America and I are nearly obsessed. Great stuff, right? Okay. Babe. What's your leader on the right now? Because I refuse to believe we're running at 5.3 touching chat this much. Xbox popping, what's it? Is it better now?
I can't hear anything.
Hi. Hello.
Oh, it is now.
Alright, there you go. Can you guys just chill? So dramatic. Jesus.
Babe, it was so bad. It was like...
Feel free to tell me next time.
I ran over.
Oh, so it couldn't have been that long.
No, I was waiting for you to fix it, but then you just kept talking.
No, because I can't hear it.
No, I know, but I figured you would see the chat.
Yeah. Anyways.
Anyways.
It sounded like RFK Jr. Am I the only one who, like, he put all my fears to rest with his Senate confirmation? That was pretty good. I like the part where he said, I'd like to see the data about vaccines causing autism. It's like, the vaccines cause autism thing, it was this guy, Andrew Wakefield, and he made this study, and it said vaccines cause autism, and it was obviously not peer reviewed. It was like a bullshit study. Then he goes to jail. They take away his license, and he goes to jail for fabricating a study. He comes out of jail and then continues pushing said study, and he's like the godfather of this theory. It's crazy. Fucking... Anyways. Yeah, I appreciate it. I don't think we're the best showmates ever, though. Survivor is boring. So this actually leads me to one of my first hot takes. I think Survivor is on a legendary run right now. And maybe it's just the 90-minute episodes, but, like, when's the last time we had a stretch of seasons that have been this good? 45 to 47. And look, 44, I think people in retrospect don't like, but in the moment, people liked it. I think 43 was the last season that people really didn't like. Like, I think the new era has been great. I did not like 41. I did not like 43. I think 43 had its moments, but anyways. I think 42, 4, 5, 6, 7 are all, like, really good seasons. The only era that I think could maybe be considered better is, like, you have, like, a weird run from 15 to 20. Where, like, okay, you get China, which is awesome. Micronesia, one of the best ever. Then you get, like, Gabon is not that good. Tocantins is awesome. Samoa is really fun. And then Heroes Villains the best season ever. So I think that's, like, the best stretch we've ever had. But I think this might be number 2. Also, you could say, like, Philippines is great. Caraboan's pretty good. Blood vs. Water is great. Cagayan is great. That 4-season stretch is good, too. See, Plouty, I don't think 29 or 30 are that good. I'm not a San Juan del Sur guy. I think the new era has been a resounding success. Like, I have my problems with it, but I think it's been great. All right. America is greater than blue. It's not a hot take in this chat, guys. Come on. I don't like Cass from Survivor, sorry. I get it, but that's kind of the appeal, right? Like, isn't that part of it? Like Cass on Twitter is kind of annoying, but it's like, it's Cass. Like, what do you mean? I don't know. I don't think, like I'm a fan of Cass on the show. I thought Cass was really fun. But I think Cass, like, if everyone liked Cass would not be as fun. Boston Rob played one of the best Survivor games for All-Stars, not Redemption Island. I I think both of his winning-ish games, both of his best games are weird. Redemption Island, obviously he's like a vet with a ton of newbies. It was just kind of like a walk to the end. And then All-Stars was like a lot of pre-gaming. Like, you know, like, so they're two different kind of asterisks, but I generally do think All-Stars was more impressive than Redemption Island in general. But I do think Redemption Island was impressive. Like, I think we somewhat take it for granted that, like, all these returning players kill it on their runbacks. Like, for us as viewers, it seems like, oh, of course Paul is going to get to the end. Of course Boston Rob's going to get to the end. But when you're Paul or Boston Rob, it probably feels really hard doing it. So, anyways. I want to see Howie play another season of Big Brother. Y'all, Howie is the exact kind of player who you could absolutely never bring back. You think Howie on the live feeds would be a fun experience? I promise if Howie was on the live feeds, you'll see so many pets get adopted. Like a record-setting number of pets. We'll have live feed updates mostly of the little animals. So, that's my suggestion. That's my theory. But, you know, Ian is a top 5 winner. I mean, it's obviously not even like a real take. Top 5 character winner, I think that's right. If we're talking like top 5 characters, it's probably like Josh, Rachel, Ian. Maybe you put Taylor in there. Probably Dr. Will is probably it. Like, yeah, something like that. I don't know if Taylor would be in there. She's not that much of a character. She's just like a person. But I think Ian's probably a top 5 character. Boston Rob's overhated. He's now underrated. Okay, be careful. Because it's turned around. Now I think people are talking about Boston Rob as like he's even better than he is. Because of traitors. Which I hate. I hate anyone's opinion changing about anyone because of traitors. But I, generally speaking, would agree that people hate him a lot. And people underrate his ability, but he's pretty good. And I think his performances outside of Survivor have been pretty good. Him on Dondi was really good, and him on The Traitors is a pretty impressive showing. So, thanks JPR for gifting Little Miss Andre. Appreciate it. We're 10 subs away from 300, or 9 subs now. See if we can get there. How do you think Boston Rob and Big Brother would be? I think he'd be very good. I think Boston Rob would be very good at Big Brother because he's good at comps. Even if he's not in as good shape as he was before, obviously. He's still, like, very good at comps. And he has a very chill demeanor, which I think would serve him very well. I think Carolyn would have more problems in the house. I think Danielle would have a lot of problems. Like, being able to chill and sit back and whatever is a key thing in Big Brother. Andy pissed me off with his tweet comparing him and Dan. Let's be very clear. We all know Andy's agenda, and I love Andy, but it did not take a genius to read between the lines of what Andy's trying to do whenever he criticizes Dan. Right? And I'm sure Andy would admit this too. So, you know, I do think he's right in a sense of, like, they were both in impossible positions, and Rob's doing better than Dan did, but who cares? I think Boston Rob is a misogynist, and people forget about his history of behavior on reality TV. I don't care if it was a product of its time. A pattern is a pattern. Look, maybe I don't remember. I watched all of Boston Rob's seasons pretty religiously. Maybe Marquesas is my big blind spot, but I don't think he exhibited crazy misogynistic behavior. I don't. He's very alpha domineering. I'm a guy, so he'll talk over women and stuff like that. But I think it's a very strong term to fling onto somebody. Yeah, I got it. Like Boston Rob, it's kind of like Wes. Like, I don't think Wes is a misogynist at all. I think he's just he's a guy. And he's not a guy written by a girl, you know? So I do disagree with this take. Again, I'm not the biggest Marquesas guy, so I might have missed some things. The Arizona Cardinals will never win a Super Bowl in your lifetime. That's my hot take. By the way, football is reality TV. I don't think we're going to win one in the Kyler Murray era, so it's going to be a bit. Andy Herron is a low-tier winner because his win cannot be separated from the racism of the season. Cannot be separated from the racism of the season. I get it. I think you can separate skill set from the circumstances of the season. Like, Andy showcased some skills that I think it's fair to assume would work on any given season. But talking about, like, the social dynamics and the layout of the house, that part of it I think is inseparable from the racism of the season. Like, him being able to harness Aaron and Gina Marie is not something that other people had the ability to do. Right, so, like, I think that part of it's fair, but in terms of, like, evaluating Andy as a player, you see him work, and you see he has a real talent for this thing. So, I get it, but I think that's the distinction I would make. Survivor All-Stars is the best Survivor season. It's definitely not the best. It's top 10 for me. I love the season. But I also watched it without having watched the seasons before it. It was the first season I ever watched, and I loved it. I didn't know I was supposed to be rooting for Rob Cesternino and Richard Hatch and all these people. If BB15 wasn't so tarnished, it'd be a top-tier season. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like, if the pig wasn't a pig, it'd be a cow. Like, it's like, sure. Liz should have won BB17. I mean, I can imagine a scene where Steve cuts Vanessa, or let's say Liz somehow gets to part 3, cuts Vanessa, gets a 5-4 vote, runs out and just makes out with her sister in celebration. The confetti's falling. What a scene. This would be powerful. Cory, sorry, when you make content about kissing your sister, other people get to make fun of it. That's the rules. That's the rules. Everyone knows that. You even got a first-time chatter saying, oh, yeah. Yeah, they had to plug in the keyboard to express their... Do you watch The Challenge? Yes, I've watched every season from season 20 to 40, and I've watched, like, 5 seasons before that, too. Survivor needs to stop casting the same type of person every season. Too much of the same game style since everyone's basically a super fan. I've seen this criticism, and I think this is people just, like, shouting into the void. I don't think this happens. Like, what do you mean the same type of person? Just, like, the eager super fan? Like, I don't think that's everyone who's cast. I just think this is more of, like, an idea in people's head than a truth. I think 47 was pretty super fan heavy. But, generally speaking, I prefer them leaning into more super fans than more recruits. If you want to say it should be a little bit more balanced, I get that. But I'm thinking of people like Q and people like Tiffany. Like, it's not all Zach Wurtenbergers, Carsons, Teenies. It's not. Even Teeny. Like, Teeny is in their own complete category. Like, I just think this is like a... People have this, like, take in their gut, but they don't actually believe it. My favorite people on the challenge? Favorite guy and girl? My favorite girl was Cara Maria until her recent political statements. I don't know. I just kind of watch. Everyone's flawed in the challenge. Like, there's so many people who I find it so hard to root for. Maga Murray. Say Turbo. It's a good answer. Favorite guy on the challenge? I would say... Fuck. I mean, when I was growing up, I'd root for Leroy, to be honest. That was always my favorite. As I've matured, I feel like Leroy's a little bit of a minion, which I don't love. But I was rooting for Leroy when I was younger. Thank you, Survivor Desi, for gifting. We're at 292. 8 more. Amber B. Ashley Millionaire Mitchell. Oh, Ashley and Anissa. What a team. Of course I'd go on the challenge. It's just fun. Shows are fun. But yeah, I disagree with this opinion. My hot take, by the way, I'm going to close the submissions in 5 minutes at 7:40 p.m. So I think Survivor seasons could use more time apart. Okay, I do agree. It feels like they come back to back, but they also, like, there is a pretty big break between the spring season and the fall season. Between the fall and the spring, it doesn't feel like there's as much of a break, but I feel like there's a bigger one between those two. It's like, part of me is like, yes, I agree, but, like, the other part of me is like, why? Like, what? Like, just give me another season. Like, I don't mind having more Survivor to watch. So, president of Kindness Reality TV Twitter account needs to disappear. I'm actually unfamiliar. Very rare you can call out a specific Twitter account and me not know what it is, but I don't know what this is. Sarah Beth is top 10 of all time. I don't think she's top 10 of Big Brother 23. Probably on the cusp. Big Brother needs to hire BB Can producers and also start casting from Canada. I think they should definitely start casting from Canada. I don't know why they wouldn't. And the BB Can producers, like, sure, but that's just not going to happen. I just think they need the comp team from BB Can. Because I think, like, the way I would pitch it to Big Brother US is like, okay, you can make your comps way better. They're going to be quicker to build up and tear down, and it's going to be cheaper. We could do all of these things at once. And I feel like once they hear the cheaper thing, they'll get excited. And yeah, you could still go harder with the set design and stuff. Like, you know, you could make a bigger production. I know they like doing that, but the Big Brother Can comps are just so good. Yeah, just steal the comp ideas. It doesn't have to be that deep. BB Can is so much better than BB US because they actually care about improving the show. Look, I 100% agree until they took away the live feeds, in which case Big Brother US is a trillion times better than Big Brother Canada. BB Can 12 was a great season of Big Brother without live feeds, and it still ranks below every single Big Brother US season, except for Big Brother 1, in my opinion. Taking the live feeds away from Big Brother, it's not Big Brother anymore. It's just this, it's its own new show. So, like, Big Brother Canada, like, it's not like production's choice to do that, of course. They want to keep the feeds. But the second they did that, it became immediately the worst, you know, the worst of the US and Canada seasons. It's a series of things, Keeson. As a series. I think part of it was Will. He's obviously a great player. Part of it is, I think people bought that he's trying to quit stuff for a while. Part of it is season 6 sucks. There's a lot. But he's, you know, most of it's because he's pretty good. Angela shouldn't have been removed from the Challenge USA. I mean, that's not a hot take. That's just true. She got robbed. James Ryan should have played in BB22. I disagree. Like, okay, would James Ryan have been more fun than Kaser or Janelle? Like, honestly, I think he would have added more to the show. James Ryan is my favorite kind of player where he's just chaotic and does some crazy shit all the time. Isn't he a Trumpy now? Well, don't let that disqualify BB6 returnees, because we could have a different discussion. I don't like James Ryan just because of his politics, honestly, but I think casting-wise, he's good casting because he's just a chaotic gamer. But we've kind of seen his story twice, and it was the same story twice, and do you need it a third time? Granted, we've seen Kaser's story, 7 times at this point, so, like, really, we saw Kaser's story, 4 times? He came back once, and so, like, I get what you're saying, but it's just about, like, the casual fans recognizing him. Kaser and Janelle are so much more recognizable. After rewatching season 3, Lisa's a bottom tier winner. Like, she didn't do anything. People say she didn't vote her showmance in. The only thing she did was win the last HOH. Like, she's on Jordan BB11 level of winners. I'm inclined to agree with this take, honestly. I think Lisa is perhaps the most overrated winner in Big Brother history. It doesn't mean she's bottom tier. I don't think she's bottom 3, bottom 4. But I think she's dramatically overrated. I think she's an extremely good archetype for Big Brother. She's very likable. She's social. She's a smart person. But I do think it's one of the most overrated games ever. And she basically made it as far as she did as a result of Danielle and Jason making bad decisions at the end. So I do agree. She's probably bottom 10. I think she's clearly bottom 10. But I do agree with this take, actually. Good hot take. Rare good hot take. Well done. All right, I'm closing submissions. Closing submissions. Okay. We got two ones in the last second, so good job to you guys. You got them in. Okay. All right. Good take. Sam should have won last season as Survivor. Look, I'm the type of person who respects Sam's type of game more than Rachel's, but I think Rachel deserved to win. I think Rachel deserved to win over Sam because when you set the parameters of the game, if this person gets to the end, they win. If they get to the end, they should win. It was very much Jag. Like, the reason Matt was playing a better game than Jag was because Jag was always going to be evicted before Matt. But Jag got to the end. It's kind of how it works. Like, that's the thing. Rachel's game was flawed because she could have been voted out several times, but she actually couldn't, and she got to the end. So it's just kind of how it goes sometimes. So I don't think Sam did anything wrong. I think it's kind of nice to make it so far and also don't have that many regrets because it just kind of happens. But I think Rachel was the deserving winner there. They said it at final 10 for Rachel, and we said it at final 9 for Jag, 10 for Jag, like, you know. Unconventional love reality shows like Love is Blind and Married at First Sight are the best kind of reality shows. I've noticed in recent years, especially with Love is Blind, I think there's less and less people, like there's way more influencers going on these kinds of shows. Like a lot more. Where, like, everyone goes into the show and they're actually already married, or they have a girlfriend or something. And that's odd to me. But I do love Love is Blind. But, what I love about these shows is when they brand themselves as experiments. When, like, we've seen the experiment for, like, 12 seasons now, and it doesn't fucking work. But I do think it's funny. There are too many Real Housewives shows. I feel like they do a good job of getting rid of the bad ones, keeping the good ones. BB23 is a great season. I think this was a very cold take, and then as time has gone on, people have soured on the season. I just think it's a really bad season to rewatch. I think in the moment, it's kind of like BB25 a little bit in the second half, where it's like, oh my god, something's going to happen. How is this going to go? Holy shit, this is crazy. But, like, knowing that nothing actually happens and the cookout just wins kind of ruins it. It also hurts that, like, Xavier wins the season. I think in the moment, thinking Tiffany's going to win, it's a better show. And I think what killed BB23 the most was, like, a double eviction of Hannah and Tiffany is just brutal. It just kind of killed the end game of the season. Like, I think Big Brother needs to do a better job of realizing when a double eviction can kill a season. It's like level 6. Double eviction with Brett is brutal. You can't have Brett go there. You need to give him a full week. Double eviction with Danny on Big Brother 22. You need a full week for that meltdown and for the scrambling. But I think BB23 was just brutal with that double eviction. It was like, fuck. Now it's Kyland, X, DF, and Azza. Like, Will they ever actually get better with that? Probably not, but Real Housewives is not that good of a show. I tend to agree, but, there's good moments. Flavor of Love is a better show than The Bachelor. I definitely agree, but I think The Bachelor, I just can't understand it, how people love it so much. The new era of Survivor has had more drama than like 5 other older seasons. There are a good amount of scuffles. I agree. I think people who say it's all just like gamers gaming and there's nothing beyond that, they just aren't watching the show. Like, do you guys remember Q and the Liz shit? Like, there's some drama. Owen should have won Survivor 43. He was the only one there, played somewhat actively. I love Owen. I disagree just because if you get to the final 3 and you get shut out against Gabler and Cassidy, the jury management's a problem. I think sometimes the better player loses in a jury vote. I think that's a thing that can happen. The whole idea of the best player wins every season, I disagree with. But you just can't get shut out against Gabler and Cassidy. That speaks to like a big flaw in your game. The jury got to watch Owen play Blood in the Clock Tower. Hey, it's not like I played very well last time. Thank you, A-Faye, for the 13 months. I appreciate you. Survivor Island of the Idols was a good season. Tommy's a good winner. Tommy's a great winner. He's one of the best winners in the show's history in terms of like how good of a winner is he. The season's horrible, though. I think this is up there with the worst seasons of the show. Like, in terms of, an ick, like, this was the ickiest season of reality TV I ever watched. And I watched Big Brother 15. I think what made Big Brother 15 feel a little bit better, this might sound weird, was, like, the fact that it was live, and Aaron was getting reamed on the outside, and people were supporting Howard and Candace. Like, you're watching this, and it all happened in the past, and you're like, what the fuck was going on here? I think it was just a lot harder to watch, because you just have to accept the version the show gives you, and you see Dan get so far. It's just a gross season to watch. I think people do give Tommy credit. I just don't think they talk about the season much, because it's just bad. I don't love the bit. I think the bit's a little bit annoying, but I do appreciate the persistence. It's very much like DMing Cory every day until he responds. BB25 is greater than 26. It's a hot take, not in this chat though. Bad Girls Club is the greatest reality show of all time. I've never seen it. People like it though. AFP should go to a juror and not a pre-juror. Sorry, Tucker. That's a funny take. Like, it's very... Here's, I think, the better way of putting it. A pre-juror getting AFP is a testament to a bad cast, or at least, like, a poorly edited season when it comes to the cast. Like, it should be disqualifying that you're not in the second half of the episodes. Like, if the viewers are not able to latch on to someone else for the second half of the season, I think that's a flaw in the editing, giving people space to shine. I think. Yeah, I mean, Cody and BB19 was the same. So that's my take on that. But yeah, I mean, there's no reason why a pre-juror shouldn't be able to win. Would this still have been Cam BB25 if he got evicted when he was supposed to? Or did that... I think without Zombie Week, I think Suri probably wins AFP. I think, yeah. Cameron Harden sucks. It's not even his name. It's with an I. How dare you? Dr. Will is not the best BB player, and he didn't deserve to win BB2. I think he absolutely deserved to win BB2. I don't think his game was extremely great in BB2, but I think he clearly deserved to win it. I think that's another one of those, like, people overrated Dr. Will so much where people started underrating him. I wish Quinn was faking it on BB because now his loudness is too much. I wish Quinn was faking it. I just think, like, for those of you who've watched Quinn stream, like, Quinn has his animated stuff that he does, and that's a huge part of who he is, but he's also a very chill person. I think this is like a you don't consume enough Quinn content. kind of moment. Like, the clips you see on Twitter are always going to be him being loud ones. So, again, like, I think Quinn knows his personality is going to turn off some people, but that's exactly why his personality is so great and why he goes on reality TV and why he's one of the most beloved people from his season. So, I think that's the nature of his personality. F. Matt Klotz. Y'all are not understanding the assignment of hot takes, huh? Can you and America do a weekly vlog on the Patreon? We were talking about it just because it was pretty easy to do, the New York one. The retrospective voiceover makes it a lot easier. The problem is we need to have content to do it. Like, this week, we've just been sick. Like, America's feeling kind of sick right now. Like, we haven't had much to do. But, you know, it's definitely something we'll try to do because it's not that hard. Survivor All-Star season should be every 5 seasons. For example, 45 could have been New Era. I disagree with this. I think that's too oversaturated. Every 5 seasons. I honestly think every 10 seasons is pretty good. I think it makes it like more of an event. And it's really every 9 seasons, right? Because it'd be 41 to 49 and then 50. 51 to 59, then 60. I like it. But I get it. Maybe you do like fans versus favorites in the middle there somewhere. Like some half and half kind of vibe halfway through. But I do disagree. This is my other hot take that I wrote down. I don't think in modern reality TV, All-Star seasons work, really. Like, I'm still down to watch them, and it's still exciting, and it's fun as a fan, but like, with how connected all the past survivors are and how connected the Big Brother people are, I just don't think it works as well. Like, we all, like, everyone knows each other. Like, if there's Big Brother All-Stars 3, it's just going to be a shitstorm of pre-gaming. Like, that's when you'd actually just need a ton of twists to mix things up. So, not a bad take, though. Kirsten and Riley from BB25 are the most robbed players and could have been some of the best BB female players ever if they stayed. I love the Kristen and Rayleigh. I think you're wrong. I think Riley has some very valuable skills. Like, I think her comp ability is really good, and she has a very, very good social game. Like, she's able to get people drawn to her very quickly. But I think her strategic shortcomings are amongst the biggest on the cast. And Kirsten, just never seen the show before. I think Kirsten is the biggest loss of the season. She could have been extremely fun, and instead, it was just kind of like a low-key, she was trying to campaign, but couldn't really, like... I do think Kirsten was the most robbed player of the season, even if, you know, she made a lot of mistakes. Suri's best season is Game Changers. I just don't understand how you wouldn't say Micronesia. Game Changers was really good, though. But again, like, how does she win Game Changers? Like, what's the path? I don't see it. It's the classic Suri dilemma. She did really well to get to where she did, but once she gets to the final 5, say she survives Advantage Geddon, then what? Maybe there is a path there. I don't really see it. Alliances hurt more than help in The Amazing Race. I haven't watched that much. I think you have to be aligned with weaker teams just to, like, make sure if you guys end up in, like, a foot race or, like, in a challenge off or whatever that you win. But I think generally, like, it's not as pivotal to the strategy as Big Brother Survivor, quite clearly, right? I think the move is probably just, like, align with, like, a trustworthy team that is slower and worse than you. So if you guys both get lost, you could just beat them in the back end. Cody isn't even a top 20 BB player ever. He can't articulate, for starters, why he won BB22. No evidence he can play from the bottom or weasel out of tough spots. So here's the argument against that. The whole, like, he can't play from the bottom thing is true. Like, we have no idea if he could play from the bottom. But when you have 2 seasons, like 190 days of Big Brother, and you've never been anywhere but the top, I just can't hold that against you as much. I just can't. Like, if you want to say, like, Derek, he played one season, he never beat adversity. Sure. Cody's played 2, and they were 2 of the longer seasons ever, and he was never in any danger. Like, that's kind of crazy. So I think that's when, like, I hold that against him less. Not being able to articulate your game. How many Big Brother players can articulate their game? Honestly, like, I think it's a very small group. I think Cody, more than any other player in Big Brother history, is a beneficiary of new era Big Brother. Like, the way that new seasons work with the comps, it just benefits him. So, like, if you want to say his archetype is almost like what makes him so great, like, I agree. But I don't really hold that against him because that's who he is. Like, that is an advantage. But, you know, maybe you could say, like, he should get less credit for his wins, but in terms of evaluating him as a Big Brother player, it's like, well, you can't take away what he's good at. I wonder how he'd do in BB26. He'd do well in comps. Jag is not a top 5 winner. Banned. Someone find them. Your taste in music is girly pop, but your reality TV takes are often aggressively heterosexual. I agree, for the most part. I don't know. I think I'm able to be pretty nuanced and, like, look at a lot of it, but, like, at the end of the day, you guys have to consider, like, I'm a game bot, and that's just kind of how it is. I'm a game bot, you know, like, what do you want from me? Like the whole Cassidy versus Gabler thing, like, thinking Gabler probably was the right person to win is definitely an aggressively heterosexual take, and I understand that. But, you know, so I actually do agree with this take. Adam should have won BB Can 7. I don't think so. I think we got the right result there. That was Dane, right? That was Dane's season. Again, I'm not an expert, but I think, you know, just his play at the Final Four was so fun. I've seen that clip a billion times. The macaroni. The only reason Traders has succeeded is because of the celebrity clout. It's a poorly made game. Every week of the Traders, my Traders is unwatchable take is souring. It's not clout that makes the show good. It is amazing performances from the cast. That's what makes the show amazing. I think the production is good. The costuming is great. Alan's a great host. Like, all that stuff is good, but that by itself does not make a great show. It is the cast consistently fucking performing is what makes the show amazing. And the format is awful, and the cast makes the show wonderful in spite of that. So, like, you know, I think that's what you have to reconcile. Like, the format sucks, the cast is good, and the cast pops off. I don't even think the editing is that bad either. Like, my problem is I'm just a Big Brother fan, so I always, like, think they're lying to us in the edit. And I'm sure they are. But I think they are really good at keeping us guessing of, like, who's actually getting voted off at the round table. Like, I feel like Survivor, I can almost always tell what's going to happen. Big Brother goes without saying. The Traders, I feel like I'm actually usually wrong about what's happening. And it's not like they're just tricking me, you know? Someone from BB Can 7 slid into my DMs. All right, spill. Come on. What are we doing here? Nicole Frenzel is the best BB player of all time, and I'm serious. I think the argument for Nicole is she has the highest floor of any Big Brother player of all time. If you simulate 1,000 seasons, I think she has the highest average placement. I think it's her or Cody. That would be the argument. Impossible for her to be pre-jury. I think it would be almost impossible. I think the other thing that makes Nicole so good is you think she does amazingly in every... Like, I think she might be the only player ever, I think Janelle as well, who has played on all newbies, mixed cast, and all-stars. I mean, Davon did it too. So there's a couple players who've done it. And she did really well all 3 times. Her worst season was the newbies, but BB16, like, that's a hard thing to do as a woman. Like, so I do think Nicole is the. There's an argument there. I don't believe it, but I think it's fine. Vanessa only played one time and got third, so I still think she may be better on multiple runs. I think Vanessa is a super volatile player. I think she would do pretty terribly on a lot of seasons and do really well on a lot of seasons. Like she's the opposite of Nicole. Like Emmett should have won BB Can 1. Don't quiz me on BB Can 1, guys. I wish I had more to say. I'm not locked in like that. The only seasons of BB Can I could really talk about in depth is 10, 5, a little bit of 12, and a little bit of 3. Julie Chen needs to stop hosting Big Brother. I think Julie popped off on 26. I think she was a really good host last season. So, it's Julie Chen, too. You got to keep riding. What are we doing? It's Julie. I think she did a good job. Jackson Mickey sucks as a winner. I do think he's an overrated winner in terms of how good of a winner he is. Everyone hates him, obviously, but I think people act like he's a better player than he is. Michelle Fitzgerald is the best Survivor player. She's the only multi-time player to never be voted out and make Final Tribal Council twice. Thank you, Cubs fan. Appreciate it. How you doing? I think Nicole Franzel and Michelle Fitzgerald have a lot in common. I just think they're really never going to do poorly. She's obviously not the best of all time. Like, I think it's almost unfair because someone like Sandra, like, she only played twice and won twice, but then she came back 2 more times. So, like, people who have, like, these bigger resumes, they have more opportunities to not make Final Tribal. Like, Parvati, obviously, her first time didn't, but she still has 2 seasons in a row making it to Final Tribal. And those games, I think everyone would agree, are more impressive than Michelle's. And she had a good first showing. So, like, it's just, like, her lack of a resume in terms of, like, she doesn't have big, like, very terrible games as the reason why she's the GOAT, I think is a weird argument. So, I love Michelle, though. Suri would have dominated the BB26 cast. I agree. I think Suri would have probably won the season or got third. I think it would have been hard for Suri to lose that season, to be honest. Sam deserved more than 1 vote at the Final Tribal. I'm glad he won second place. He got second place. I'm glad he got the vote. Beyond that, I don't really care. I think there should have been a distinction between him and Sue. And I'm glad Kyle gave him that vote. Joseph BB26 is underrated. I agree. I think he would have done a lot better on BB25, honestly. I think the vibe of that house fit his personality better. I think strategically, he always had a decent idea of where to go. I think his biggest flaw was his social game. But I think the misconception about Joseph's social game is, like, he wasn't disliked, really. I think some people had beef with him at different moments. Chelsea didn't like him in certain spots. Angela loved him sometimes, didn't like him sometimes. He just didn't have the ability to, like, forge super deep social connections in the same way other people did, which is a big flaw. But I think the idea that he's like, oh, his social game sucked, everyone hated him, is wrong. I think his big problem this season was, like, he just didn't have a place on this cast. But strategically, I think he's a fan. He's a, very, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Like, he's a logical guy, which I think is, a pretty powerful thing to be on Big Brother 26. And when I say underrated, most people I think would view Joseph like as a really bad player. I don't think he's that. I think he's solid. And he should have made Final 9. Like, him going out at the Final 10 was fluky as hell. So, Thoughts on fans giving Kyle and Alyssa money for trips? Good for Kyle and Alyssa. honestly. Kyle, as far as I understand, had a lot of money, though, because of TikTok, but maybe he blew up more after the show. You're the third best nerd archetype casting behind Ian and Steve. Number one on Twitch. I think in terms of gameplay, I'm probably third. In terms of like just raw casting, it's a harder discussion. But I think I was a unique nerd archetype. I don't think I followed the mold, which I think is fun. Yeah, I mean, I guess Eric's in that same category. I think me and Ian are pretty similar, to be honest. I think Ian just being so much better at comp sets him apart, so maybe fourth. I wouldn't count Andy as the nerd just because of how archetypally Big Brother casts. Like, I think the casting of Andy was obviously in a different category. Like, just look at the way they filmed his key ceremony. um, but yeah, I think this is fine. But I appreciate it. Very kind. The hate Carla got on 43 was mainly from her being a queer woman of color who played against the pretty white girl. Cassidy didn't do enough to win. This has been talked to death. I think Carla got way too much hate. It reminds me a little bit of Maria, where it's like you could disagree with their vote, you could disagree with their philosophy on the game and what they did in the game, but it's just not that serious. Maybe it is from the perspectives of the players, but from the fans, it shouldn't be that serious. And I think, you know, her being a queer woman of color, it's always going to play a role. So I don't think you can just dismiss that. The Circle has some of the most wasted potential. It was the worst almost every reality TV world. Very limited communication leads to it feeling like worse Big Brother. Also, it was only like 2 weeks, which leads to bonds also being weak. Then, like the traders, the players' goals are different from what the game actually is. Players want to go catfish hunting, despite that leading to no real advantage. There's some interesting twists. They often end up punishing any player trying to play strategically. I never got hooked on the Circle. It just didn't do it for me. But I don't know enough about the show, honestly, to dive into each critique you got here. But I think it's got a lot of... It allows cast members to shine in a way that I think some other shows don't. Like watching Shuby on the Circle is just really fun. I think it allows the cast to like have a lot of personality in a way that sometimes like Big Brother is unable to. Excuse me. All right, what do we got? America Lopez is the best juggler in Big Brother history. Have we ever had a clown in Big Brother? Dance Moms is one of the better reality TV shows out there. 100%. Yeah. It's insane. Janelle is the GOAT. I think if you want to say Janelle is the GOAT competitor in Big Brother history, I think there's a real opinion there. I think the only people you can argue, like Janelle, Paul, Cody, and Michael, I think are the four options. I think the argument for Janelle is Janelle was able to do it in a time of equitable comps, which is pretty awesome. Cody just has the most wins. Paul is kind of the same as Cody, just a ton of wins. And Michael has the best, like, closed record. Best percentage. Against a pretty strong cast, mind you. So, I think those are the four people you can argue. I don't think there's anyone else. I think Mackenzie and Jag are just... I don't think so. Do you weigh competition wins based on how much easier comps were back in the old days? No. It's more... It's not easier. Like, I think the easier the comps are, the more impressive it is. Because Janelle was a beast with quizzes. And, like, a lot of carnival games and crapshoots and stuff that kind of showed she's just kind of a good competitor. Whereas a lot of Michael's comp wins, a lot of Cody's comp wins are just athleticism. Which obviously Janelle also had at that time, so... I think Danny is kind of up there, but she really just had one good season. Like, she was crazy on BB-8. She won a ton of shit. She won some stuff in BB-13 and a little bit... most of her wins were BB-8. I think she had, like 6 comp wins there or something? Janelle had 2 seasons of just steamrolling. Same with Cody. Same with Paul. Showmances make a BB season more fun and engaging. I agree for the most part. You need to have like one though. More than one is kind of brutal. Survivor Panama is a top 5 season. It's a top 5 character season. I think strategy not quite. Strategy is interesting, but top 5 character season easily. Thank you. BB24 is a bottom tier season and cast only redeemed by Taylor's win. I don't think it could be a bottom tier season because it just wasn't like a steamroll like that. Like there was dynamic gameplay happening. But I do think it was pretty massively bailed out by a Taylor win. I think if Taylor doesn't win, let's just say Taylor gets evicted at like Final Four, she doesn't win that HOH, and then Monty wins, I think it's probably considered like kind of like a Big Brother 21, but slightly better. I think would be how it is. How do you know the technique to throw comps? I think people always thought I was throwing comps. I don't think I have a good way of doing it. Like my strategy for throwing comps was get really deep in the comps and then lose. But the problem is like then people get almost more frustrated because they think you threw it and they think you could have won otherwise. I would have been fine with the Turner win. It would not have been the same. Kirsten from BB25 was really robbed. I think she was robbed of a week 2 eviction. Instead, she was evicted week 1. Riley would do really well in the challenge. I agree. Oh, God. 1 second. Do-do-do-do. I think Riley just being a taller girl is such a big advantage. Like, you see it on the challenge a lot. Like, the bigger girls just do really well. And it's not like Riley's, 6 foot, but she's 5'8", 5'9", and that just gives you a big edge. So I do agree. I think her problem would be like, is she cutthroat and decisive enough? But I don't think we saw enough on BB25 to really make a definitive thing on that. Julie is better than Jeff. I think that's hard to argue. I think the thing is like Jeff has a bigger impact on his show, so if you don't like Jeff, it's more meaningful than not liking Julie because Julie just doesn't have much of a role. Genevieve is the best new era player. Blasphemous take. There's just no defense of this. Genevieve's very good though, but like there's no path to making this. Would you throw comps in the challenge? Probably not. I think honestly, if I ever played, Big Brother, Survivor, the challenge, anything, I think I would just not throw anything. Situationally, maybe you'd have to. Like, I'd be willing to throw it to specific people if it's like we're in the final 2 or 3. I think otherwise, I would just feel too insecure about my position, knowing how secure I felt on BB25 to throw a comp. Also, I think I, in BB25, underestimated the amount that I would cherish winning comps. Like, I think I'd have a lot fonder memories of comps that I won and, like, being able to watch it back. Kirsten was underrated BB25 character. The Kirsten fans are out here. I agree. I don't think she was really an underrated BB25 character. I just think she was underexplored. Like, we just didn't get enough of her, but I think she would have been great. Parvati is the best reality TV contestant of all time. She just doesn't have cross-show success yet. But if she, like, kills it on Dondi and then does well on Australian Survivor, she can mount a case. Because she's definitely, like, up there for the GOAT of Survivor. She could be number 1 there. So if she starts building out her resume. And her on the Traders was okay, but, it's not like she had much of a chance. Kelsey should have won BB Can for her. Y'all are so fucking annoying. No Pax Bros sympathizers? Come on. If I have to bet on a recruit for Superfan to win a season of Big Brother, I'm taking the recruit. IMO, while Superfans have the advantage of knowing the game and strategy, recruits are naturally more adept with their social skills. Yeah, I disagree with this 100%. I just think past seasons have shown this not to be true. Like, I think recruits are fine and they could do well. But, like, okay, if this is spectrum, superfans to I've never seen the show before, I'd much rather be closer to this one. Being all the way towards the superfan one might not be ideal, but it's a lot better than not knowing the show. Like, someone like Chelsea is not a superfan. She's not. But she's definitely a fan, and that is where you want to be. Jag is not a superfan. He's not a full-blown recruit who's never seen the show before. Like, he wasn't. So I think this is just a bad take. Also, the idea that, like, non-superfans are better socially is wrong. I get the idea of, like, oh, you're just better, you know, you're more relaxed and chill and probably less nerdy. I just think that's not true. I get the idea, but I disagree. The Traitors is so boring. Last episode was not boring. The drama's good. I think there's parts of the episode that are unwatchable, but it was pretty good. Dan Giesling is a Republican. He definitely was a Republican. I don't know where he stands now. My instinct is Dan Giesling is he believes in a lot of the things socially that I believe in, which is better than a lot of people. But I have no idea about his actual politics. Danielle on The Traitors was not actually ever built to be in reality TV. She's been on multiple different shows now, and every time she's wrong about everything she has and puts blame on people for her bad moves. A normal people that should have just been on... are you drunk? Like, what is this? What are we writing here? Danielle on The Traitors is clearly built for reality TV. She's a star. She's insane. Like, every clip of her, I'm like, what is going on in Danielle's head? My opinion of Danielle as a character has skyrocketed after Traitors. Oh my god, it's been so good. But yeah, I think as a player, she's flawed. She's like super neurotic and all over the place, and I respect it a lot. I think it's really fun. Devin from BB35 is such an underrated player. It's a good take. I wonder if you met Devin from Survivor 35? In which case, I don't think he's underrated. I think people rate him well. I agree with you, Cory. Derek Levasseur is better looking than Gabby Windy. I never said that. I said Derek looked fly yesterday, and he did. Can we give Derek some kudos yesterday for totally mansplaining and talking down to Brittany? That, I said bring his anti-Mike Bloom energy onto the show. He brought it. That was crazy. He really went to her and said, "Loser says what? Loser says what?" That was crazy. I was like, it was not cool. No, it was not. It was funny. I was like, because my complaint about Derek has always been he's just a little bit boring because he plays too cognizantly, too cautiously, just for TV. For game purposes, it's what he has to do, and I get that. He's not playing like that on The Traitors. He's doing some shit. He was genuinely pissed that Wes was voted out there. This was, I prefer this to what we got in BB16. Blue Kim controlled BB25, but nobody wants to give her credit. She played one of the best non-winning games ever and is one of the best to never win. This is bait, and I'm not buying into it. It's bait. Despite lacking a ton of room for strategy, Amazing Race is a very fun watch when it has good tasks and is well cast. It's a little underrated. I watched some of season 35. Is that the most recent season? It was the one with Rob and Cory. I do not think that show is meant to be 90 minutes. Generally speaking, like, I think it's like, if you have like very good detours and roadblocks set up, it's a really good show. And I think they've done a lot better recently. I think they've cast a lot better recently. But yeah, I think it's underrated. I think like when people act like Survivor and Big Brother up here and Amazing Race is down here, that's insane. Like, Amazing Race is so much better produced than all these other shows. There's so much impressive about it. It's just like, if your fixation is for the social strategy and shit, you're just not going to get that there. It's a different show. So you just have to go in with a different like philosophy. Carolyn is not everyone's cup of tea. I feel like she is everyone's cup of tea fans wise, but that's why she's so fun on the show. We need less empathy from contestants on BB and Survivor. We need less empathy from them or for them. Either way, I do disagree. This is a crazy. That's an insane take. The framing device of Survivor is a huge turnoff. Can't unsee it as a wannabe Bear Grylls game show. Can't take it seriously when it looks like a Boy Scout campout. This is a great take. This is just pure hater energy that is impossible to explain. I love it. So I can't watch Survivor because it's just like naked and afraid. I love this. I do think it's a little bit goofy where like the survival element plays like no role in the show anymore, but it is just a fun aesthetic. But that is funny. On any other season, Taylor would not win. She can thank Amira for that paycheck. All right, we got Big Brother Reddit in the chat. Let's go. I think on any other season, Taylor doesn't have to be as much of an underdog. I think she probably finds herself in a decent position just by being likable and social and solid in comps. So I actually think like she'd have a better chance of having a good winning game, but I do think BB24 lined up well for her in terms of like how the underdogs happened and like it was a good path for her to win. It's not like she had the most agency that season, but I think I think she would have as good of a chance as anyone in most other seasons. She has a pretty good skill set for it. Oh, hey, bub, don't even get into it. Venus should be the first person Jeff calls from 46. I think it'd be, like, almost impossible for Venus to get a call. Just because, like, I don't know. Like, Jeff, from how he talks, it's like he wants it all to be positivity and stuff for 46. And, like, I don't know if they view Venus as that, especially with all the social media stuff during 46. But I don't know if they'd put Q in that category either, and I feel like they'd have Q back, so I'd love Venus to come back. I just don't quite see it. So our fans think Russell Hanson is anywhere close to being a good player or a red flag, but my feed has shown me 3 different people saying it today, so it's getting weird. I think it's fine to say he's a good player. I think like what he did in Samoa and Heroes Villains puts him in the good category, but acting like he was super robbed either of these seasons, I disagree with. Yeah, like I think putting him in like legend status and top 10 of all time, like he's not, but he played twice in a row and he dominated his first season and had a really, really impressive showing in his second. Like, I think like you could hate Russell Hantz and also respect that 2-season run. Worst jury management of all time? Probably, right? I don't know who else would be there. All right, it's definitely the same person over and over again. What place would Kevin Jacobs finish on BB25? He would do well, but he would ultimately be a victim of the comp beast stuff. So I think he'd probably be in the Surrey spot, like 5th. Zelina equals Endgame. Who is this? Is this Selena and Benny Blanco? Is this... Help me out. Chat. I'm missing very valuable context. BB Italy? Shut up. I don't care. Your opinions on the traders are very annoying. It's okay to have fun sometimes. It's not... This is like an opinion that like I saw, like I know who this is, I think. I saw this tweet under my original tweet. Like, I don't think you've watched me watch Traders in a few weeks. You know, I don't... I think this is just like a you've been sitting on this opinion without knowing what you're talking about for a bit. Also, you shouldn't have like such a vested interest in so much of an opinion about my opinion. Like, it's not that. Like, it's okay to just have fun sometimes and not watch something if you don't enjoy it. Like of course, you know. And I haven't really changed my mind. I think it was a very strongly worded tweet, you know. But, you know. Leah was the best player on 26 and would do better than Chelsea in 9 out of 10 seasons, but for real, Leah Peters is a top 3 BP26 player. I think the first half of Leah's game was pretty terrible. And the second half, she did a good job of recognizing her. I don't think so. I mean, obviously this part's insane, but like, I don't think Leah's underrated. I think she's probably overrated, if anything. Just in the sense of like her social game was not good. She always chose the wrong people to work with at seemingly every moment, and she would always shit talk the wrong person to the wrong person. And she got backdoored by her closest ally, or like who should have been her closest ally. But I think she's one of the better people in the season for sure. Like, I admire. She's a good competitor. First of all, that's a huge point in her favor, and I think her targeting T-Core at that spot was pretty good at the final 8. I think that's a fine move. I think obviously Chelsea was the right shot, but that's a hard shot to land. I think a lot of my like, I don't know about this, Leah, comes down to her saving Angela and having Joseph backdoored at the final 10, which you could say is Morris Quinn's fault, but that was part of it for her. And her saying she wanted to go deep with Chelsea after after she was evicted. So like, there's a couple parts of it. But I think from her season, who's better than her? I think Chelsea, obviously. I would say Cam, I think, is better. I would probably say Quinn and maybe Chemo, and that's it. But even Chemo, like, I don't know, Leah, like, I would prefer to bet on Leah over Chemo. And I think Quinn versus Leah, like, it's kind of hard to make the argument for Quinn. I just think Quinn's better. Brooklyn, Brooklyn too, but there's not much to say about Brooklyn. The ABC reality show Who Done It deserves second season. Never seen it. What are the 5 white circles on the wall? They're like little shitty dim lights that I have this remote for that I don't think they're dead. I have this little remote. I could actually turn them on. I might have batteries, but I don't care enough to. Can you explain the Cam is good take? The take is Cam's a social guy who strategically wasn't self-destructive. That's the extent of the Cam is good take. And you could say he was way too passive. Of course. He was a lot less passive than T-Core, Chemo, and Rubina. Like, he wasn't on that tier. Like, he was passive, but he still wanted to protect himself and evict the people that was better for him to evict. It's not the highest bar, but, like, I think Cam was a solid strategic thinker. Like, he wasn't blowing up his own game, and he's a likable dude. Michelle Fitzgerald's top 10 Survivor player of all time, maybe top 5. I don't think so. I mean, she's not that far from top 10. I just think it's like, really what it comes down to is how much do you value her winners at War Game. I don't know. It's a hard one to evaluate. Like, she was a GOAT, but, there was a lot of people who could have been the GOAT, and she was able to get herself to the end. Her Karang game is... It's just weird. Like, she played 2, like, really solid games. And it's like, does that make you top 10 ever? Probably not. Like, I'd prefer to see some great games and some less good games. Ashley Millionaire Mitchell is a top 3 female player, and Amber B is underrated, even though she's a champion. Ashley Mitchell has 2 wins, which is good. Top 3 female player. I mean, I think just like Laurel, Cara, and Camilla, unfortunately. I don't know exactly how you could break into that group. I mean, Jenny is probably in that too. I do remember Glasshouse, Big Matt, yes. Tori, I think you can maybe put... I mean, Ashley versus Tori. You could definitely argue Ashley. I'd probably say Tori. But I think like Jenny, you'd say, is probably better. Okay, thank you, thank you. Survivor needs to cast more himbos and bimbos again. I disagree. I think people are. That's just a classic like Janelle or Russell Hans take. Survivor 50 should be heroes versus villains. It could be heroes villains too. It'd be a fun like homage, but I'm fine with it being just all stars. Love Island seems very traumatic for people who go in there to find love. I think this next season of Love Island is going to be one of the worst seasons of reality TV ever. That's my hot take. I think because of how beloved and popular the last season was, people are going to be so, amped up and trying to be the next, PPG. That's my guess. Ashley K and Dario are the best team in All Stars. Dario looks good. I don't remember Ashley K. I don't think I watched Battle of the Seasons really. But a couple of some Dario fans. When I say some, it's one. Tucker sucks. I don't think Tucker sucks. Blue Kim is actually a mastermind. I think BB26 made me appreciate Blue as a player a lot more. Does that make sense? Do you guys follow my train of thought there? Not in terms of like Blue played so much better than all these people, but Blue was always trying. And Blue was campaigning for shit. And Blue was often trying to get the wrong person out, like trying to get rid of Me in America instead of Matt and Jag. It's obviously like bad, but like she was trying to do some stuff. She was playing actively. And I do appreciate that. Genevieve, better recall for Survivor 50. I think Genevieve is the type. I don't know why I'm saying like Genevieve. I think she's the type of person who might get like slightly forgotten, unfortunately. Like I'm glad. Excuse me. I'm glad she was on 47 because I think it gives her a better shot. But if she was on like 43 or 42, I think she might have been forgotten. But I'd be super down. I love Genevieve. I think she's awesome. I think like that's the exact type of player I want to see on Survivor 50. The player who got like 4th to 7th place, who could have won but didn't, left a lot on the table. It's like Omer, Jesse, Genevieve, that archetype, I'm trying to think who else would be in there. Like Maria, like I love that archetype. All right. It's so hard to root for men on any show. It's so much easier to root for women, and my favorites pretty much every season are women. Okay, I would say I think it's easier to root for men because it's just they're going to win more. Like, it's a better feeling. Not on Survivor recently. Survivor, women have been killing it. I think on Big Brother, it's always going to be easier to root for women, though, because men just generally make themselves more dislikable or unlikable. Anyone aligned with Jag and Matt, I don't respect their gameplay. That's insane. I think anyone not aligned with Matt and Jag, I can't respect your gameplay because what the fuck were you doing? Which there was nobody except Mimi, and I think that was a flaw of Mimi's. Danielle's an overrated player, which is shown in her Traders run. I know Traders shouldn't compare to BB, but her All-Stars game isn't even that good. I think it's fine to call Danielle overrated. I think it's fine. Danielle's a legend. She'll always be a legend. She's one of the Mount Rushmore, like, Big Brother players. She developed the game. Literally part of my strategy going into 25 was built on Danielle's strategy with Jason. But, like, I think her BB3 game and BB7 game, like, they're more impressive in the moment than they are in retrospect. But I think, like, on BB7 especially, like, I think she was very scrappy, and I respect that. It's fun seeing a player who dominated their first season have to play scrappy their second time. It's like Kim Spradlin or Jeremy and Winners at War. So, like, I think it's very impressive that you can have that much of a reputation, be that much of a threat going into an All-Star season, and even if you're never really in control, still have a good run. So if your take is Danielle is not like top 10 of all time, I'm fine with that. I just don't think it's. I think Traders does not impact that at all for me. Rachel is the worst new era winner by gameplay. What? It's Rachel or Gabler, right? I think Rachel's better than Gabler. Like, just because you kind of had to win out, I don't think makes it as bad. Have you watched 43? I have, yeah. I think she's probably the second worst. But like generally speaking, like again, it's judging the circumstances of your game versus you as a player. Like I think her skill set is infinitely better than Gabler's, right? She got put in a spot on her season where she had to win out basically, and you know, she was a part of putting herself in that spot. But I don't think it's like she blew up her own game and then had to pull it out of the trenches. Like it wasn't that bad. Okay. Rachel Riley is the best reality TV character of all time. I mean, she's hilarious on Big Brother, obviously. She's hilarious in The Amazing Race. She was great on Traders. She was great on Worst Cooks. I think it's hard to argue with this opinion. This is a very valid one. Kirsten and Blue were the best BB25 players. I think you gotta include Jag in there. BB24 is the best season since 10. It's better than season 26, and season 16 sucks. I think BB24 is the best if you just like team sports, and you're just rooting for Taylor the whole time, and it was probably very fun. It's very rare that Big Brother Twitter gets what they want. This is like the only season they got it. So I understand the enthusiasm, but not for me. Kaser is boring TV. I don't think he's boring TV because I do think he I sealed your partner's fate. Some of his celebrations in 22 were really funny. Like I think he's good TV. I think the key for me is like when you have someone who's slightly boring in terms of like they don't get in huge fights and they don't cause a ton of drama and stuff, at least make them really likable and rootable. It kind of reminds me of like Horacio a little bit, where it's like it's not like Horacio is like a huge drama guy, but he's just really likable and rootable, and like I'm okay with that. I think that's fine. Last one, last hot take. Is it going to be about Kirsten? BBOTT is the best season, and Morgan is an amazing winner that gets no credit. It's like, what credit do you want to give Morgan though? Like, she was good. I think she was good socially, and she was insulated in the ball smashers and stuff. I think it was a very fun season. It was a fun experience as a viewer, but like the format was terrible. Unwatchable, might I say. But it was a moment. You had to be there. It was pretty good. So yeah, I think this is a funny take, but look, BBOTT it's special. There's no season like it. Did you watch OTT live? 100%. It was like that was the era I was most into it. It was like OTT 19, 20, that kind of era. So that'll do it. Oh boy, that was a lot. It's Big Brother Over the Top. It was like an online version of Big Brother that was on CBS.com at that point, I think. I don't think it was even Paramount Plus. Yeah, my mom got mad at me because I stole her account, or I used her account to vote for Morgan, and she wanted to vote for Jason. OTT DRs were so good. Yeah, they did live DRs. It's crazy. CBS All Access, yeah. But that'll do it. That'll do it. Just me being back from sickness stream. I'm still coughing. I hear my voice kind of giving out. And we're going to watch more BB Can tonight, so, like, I want to make sure I save some of it for that. I'll raid Quinn right now. I don't know if he has raids enabled. Is it every now and Quinn with 2 N's? Is that it? I'm not playing Clock Tower tomorrow. I'm not. Every Now and Quinn with 2 N's. Is that it? All right, perfect. All right, tell Quinn I say hi. I'll come chat for a minute. All right, enjoy, y'all. Bye-bye.